The Whiskey Rebellion took place in 1791 under the presidency of George Washington, shortly after the war, which was paid with blood and money. The war left him with an enormous debt of $54 million. The federal government would give out bonds, and most people would pay the poor that lived off money for these bonds. The federal government imposed a tax to help pay off the debts from the American Revolution. The tax was on liquor and was paid with cash, which was hard for most farmers because they lived off bartering, and it was hard for most of them to transport the grain, so they made it into whiskey. The tax on the Western farmers who made small quantities where they were taxed at 9 cents per gallon, as the large industries paid 6 cents per gallon. A group of protesters burned down the regional tax supervisor's house, John Neville, in July. The protesters made a flag and composed a small army. George Washington gathered an army of 12,000 militiamen.
The new government demonstrated that it would enforce laws enacted by Congress that collapsed the rebels. Only 12 men were arrested and 2 men convicted, but both were pardoned. This was the first use of the Militia Act of 1792, which allowed the president to call the state militia into federal service. It is stated from a proclamation by the United States President George Washington.
The proclamation states, "It is enacted that whenever the laws of the United States shall be opposed, or the execution thereof obstructed in any state by combinations too powerful to be suppressed by the ordinary course of judicial proceedings, or by the powers vested in the marshals by that act, the same being notified by an associate justice or the district judge, it shall be lawful for the President of the United States to call forth the militia of such state to suppress such combinations and to cause the laws to be duly executed." In a letter written by Treasurer Alexander Hamilton, who was given the army by Washington, he reports to Governor Thomas Mifflin of PA that it is indispensable and urgent to press forward the forces destined to act against the insurgents with all possible activity and energy. The advanced season leaves no time to spare, and it is extremely important to afford speedy protection to the well-disposed, and to prevent the preparation and accumulation of greater means of resistance, and the extension of combinations to abet the insurrection. The tax was then repealed by President Jefferson in 1800.